Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wild Moments brought to you by explore.org. I'm especially excited to see all of you and to see you, Kelly. Hey, Kelly, how's it going?
Hi Trish, how lovely to see you. It's going well. Uh, this is ridiculous. 25 degrees here in the Lofa. Got my jumper on. But yeah, all is fabulous. Enjoying the winter season this year. Cooler temperatures, gorgeous colours. All is well. How are you doing?
Very nice. Doing well. I feel like I've missed all of you quite a bit, and I've been so busy at work that I've been really looking forward to this little slice of African wildlife paradise that we're about to experience. I mean, you have no idea how excited I am, everyone. I even combed my hair for all of you. Not something I usually
I
do in
thought
the
I had, but this camera is telling me otherwise, so it's going to have to do.
And how all of you doing? I hope that you're well. Remember to let us know because we're live and interactive, so send through your questions and your comments. As usual, Kelly, do you have anything that you'd snack or drink to accompany the show?
I actually have a cup of coffee today, in a thermal flask. It's been in there a while, but I will be finishing it potentially during the show.
Very nice. I have two varieties of water here, still and sparkling.
Wow, mixing it up, living life on the
I'm
edge,
mixing it
Trish.
up, everyone. I'm trying to compete with the Mr. H UAEs out there and the cherry iced teas and the milks and all these things.
Two types of water.
I recently discovered, completely off topic, because Wild Moments is all about the perfect clips or the most crazy, wildest clips that we've had over the week here on the Africam cameras. But right now, I'm going to tell you that I recently learned something quite interesting. There
Oh,
are sommeliers for water in the world, particularly sparkling water.
wow, I just don't know how to respond to that, Trish. Trish, because you have two types of water, I as long as it's not brown, I know lots of people that taste water and they go, oh no, that tastes terrible, and I sort of go,
You are really not the target market for
no,
the
I
water
don't think so.
sommeliers.
That's very interesting information. Thank you for sharing it with the group, Trish.
Yes, but now I will say all the hellos from everyone who are joining us. Jean Gale says good morning from a gray summer morning near Seattle. You're ready with coffee and this week's cinnamon toast.
Oof.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Casper's Third Ghost says happy Thursday, Trish and Kelly, and all coffee ready for the show. Kelly, you're really in tune with the beat of the chat.
Absolutely, coffee. It's coffee all the way.
Yeah, 100%. And he says, howdy, everyone. Based on what has happened on the cams this last week, this should be a great show today. So let's go. I know. I am guilty of not having looked at the cameras in a while, especially over the last 2 weeks. But from what I understand, it's been quite exciting, and our clips look quite exciting for today too.
Mm.
Tammy says hello, everyone. Jack DeBoer says good morning from Chesapeake, Virginia. Amberco says hello. And of course, the usual heartfelt thanks to everyone involved in the show. And you've also got some coffee. Zygote says namaste to both of us. Namaste to you too, Zygote. Oh, Grumpy Old Man is back in the house. Where were
Oh,
you? Where was it? Not last week, week before. I needed you here, Grumpy Old Man. I can't remember what for, but I needed you here. But you're here
just
now.
because. Just
Just
because.
because I must have said some grumpy old man type of joke and I needed you to back me up. April Owl says, good morning, everyone, from a rainy Connecticut. You have your cherry iced tea, there it is, by your side, and you're ready for the show. All right, everybody. Any last words, Kelly, before we dive right in and we're speechless because we can't understand what's happening with the animals?
Dive in, Trish. Dive in.
Shall we dive straight in? All right.
Go for it.
Let's head over to our first clip, everyone. Let's go to Camelton and see just how cheeky these hyenas have been with the hippos. Oh, that's already cheeky. That's already quite.
That's. I've been really interested in these hippos at Camel Thorn. There's a lot. Um,
Yeah,
and they were all just loitering strangely a while ago, I noticed. I was very confused. But these hyenas they're chancing it, hey?
yeah.
Look at that little one. Look at that little
Yeah,
one wandering off on its own. I wouldn't. Ah, when you've got that backup though, Trish, I don't know.
yeah. But
Look, there's three of them though. Look, look.
I mean, that's dangerously close to the line.
Yeah, that I would. Yeah, off you go, little hippo. I would say that's a. I mean, even I'm sure Mum would come screaming to the rescue. But even just a good bite, a bite could get
Yeah.
infected or anything. So yeah, I think that was possibly ill-advised. But Mum's
Yeah.
done.
But you mentioned the hippos at Camelthorne in general, and
Mm,
the clips that we've been seeing with them have been quite unusual. When I say unusual, unusual in our experience in the reserves we've been to,
mm.
in that they seem quite, oh, did somebody just grab a tail? No, no, no. But it interesting. I would like to go back and have a look at that particular spot again because there was something going on there. But I just wanted to say that the last couple clips that we've seen with these hippos, it might not be the same pod, but they seem quite brazen, quite they seem to rule the roost here.
I'm just what see that just it just feels weird to me that if I feel like if I was in one of the normal reserve, Mum would have been in there. She would have got up. She would have steamed in there, and it it would have all fun and games would have just come to an end. There's no ifs or buts. But
Yeah,
that's three hyenas on a young hippo, and all the adults are just sort of standing there.
yeah, that is very unusual.
Look,
Oh,
look, that's a bite.
now see this section here, running straight into the water. So, and this is a great example of hippo behavior. When there's a proper
Hmm.
threat around, bolting straight for the water because that's their place of safety. And ultimately, other predators are either, if they do try and get into the water, it's a slow game from there. They just can't exist as well as a hippo, and they're going to think twice. But what is kind of shocking is that this young hippo is being cornered by the hyenas, and nobody else is reacting.
No, look at them just hippoing over.
And these hyenas are smart, right? They are targeting that younger hippo.
So now, now back up. But that looks like a fairly apathetic attempt at defense to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying what I see, sort of thing. And they're those adults backing up, but it looks calmer than it should to me.
Yeah. But I mean, also from both sides. And these hyenas, I wonder if they might be youngsters. They are particularly fluffy,
Mm,
but it's so hard to tell with the.
okay, now this is more like this is what I would expect.
Yeah.
And look,
Adult,
soon as the adult goes over, they're probably going to disperse now. But it's is animals' behaviour changing and we're missing it, Trish? We seem to spend a lot of time going, I don't know why that's happening.
especially lately, right? The last couple months have been a lot of this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the other option
I'm
is that
literally sitting here scratching my head. I'm like,
I wonder if those hyenas are young. It's so hard to tell, one, with the camera, and two,
hmm.
when you see just hyenas, you can tell. When you see the hyenas now compared to the hippo size, it distorts your view of them. So I don't know if they're actually young or I'm just seeing them as stockier and smaller, shorter, because they're next to the hippos. But if those are young hyenas and the adult hippos already saw them coming, tested them, and now they're messing around with the youngster, but the adult hippos have already kind of figured out that they're not a threat. But how would we ever know that? And how would I've never seen adult hippos, no matter what the size of the threat is, just kind of sit around.
No, I agree. They might be young hyenas. but they've still got teeth.
Yeah,
And I know we often see hippos with scratches and injuries and stuff like that, but you want to avoid it. You want to avoid getting bitten by anything ever.
yeah.
And yeah, I'm not sure. I just see MG Leopard Spot said you watched it live. It lasted 7 minutes. I'm surprised
Wow.
hippos would tolerate that for seven. I mean that little one must have been stressed.
I mean, I don't know because the little one was also going in for them.
Yeah, I don't know.
That
It's
was
very interesting though. It's super interesting. Grumpy Old Man says Camel's one's been a great addition. There's been some really interesting stuff on that camera.
yeah, absolutely. And also, I can't help but noticing that a lot of the clips where we're stumped happen to come from Camelthorne. So maybe it's like the Bermuda Triangle of all the animal knowledge that we know just gets sucked in there and lost.
Maybe we should go camp there, Trish, for a couple of weeks and work out what's happening.
I
You
tell
keen?
you,
I think we should just disappear, turn the phones off.
yeah, I think that's an excellent idea because the
Mm,
amount of different behavior we're seeing. I wouldn't say it's unusual. I don't know if it's unusual for that area, but we are definitely getting exposed to it thanks to this
mm,
new edition. But Kelly, I think that's a date. I think
mm.
we've got to go
Let's do
stay
it.
there. Maybe we'll live stream it as well.
I think so.
That was so cool. Very interesting. I hope that we get to collect more data points here.
Mm.
And the fact that it went on for 7 minutes. That's crazy.
It's unusual. Normally, from what I've seen of hippos, there's a threat. Even if it's mild, they go away, and then they run back to the water, and it's all done. It's sort of in the space of 30 seconds a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I've seen them do it exactly like that. They
Mm.
lift up their hands and they say, "Go away."
That's exactly what happens. I've seen it.
But and also hippos have a reputation for being quite reactive and quite aggressive, and that
Hmm.
has been my experience with them almost always. If there is a confrontation, if they're just chilling doing their own thing, you're not doing anything stupid, it's all good. But when there is a
Mm.
confrontation, they are very reactive. They're not
Mm.
waiting to defend themselves. They go straight in
Mm.
offensively. Well,
There
stumped.
we go. Again,
There we go again, everyone.
just so everyone knows, we don't get to see these clips beforehand. You see them when we do. We don't get chance to study.
And you were expecting some kind of wildlife expertise. You're gonna have to wait until next week, I think, or at least wait until the next clip. To try and explain what's happening. All right, on to the next one. What do you say, Kelly?
I think let's go.
Let's go. Let's head over to Moela, because there was something really interesting happening last night, and we did get an update as well from the lodge owner. So let's go
Mm.
over and have a look. I think this one might be a bit sad. Okay, she looks very uncomfortable. Oh, I actually thought it was a he at first, and then I remembered that. Oh, so Kirst did tell us that it was a female, and that's the only reason that I thought it was a female because you could see something hanging, where
Mm.
usually,
Bits are
yeah.
shame.
But you can see there's liquid. With the infrared camera, when something's wet, it looks very
Mm.
dark. So on
Mm.
her left back leg, on the inside by her thigh, you'll see there's a dark patch where liquid has been coming out of her.
How interesting is this? It's so cool we get to see these. I mean, shame, poor girlie, but like I wonder what like the emotional state of both of those animals were with that elephant with that wildebeest.
Also, take a moment and look at her eyes. They're quite low hanging, like her
Mm,
eyelids low hanging. It's not something you see often.
mm-mm. And she's on her own, also
Yeah.
unusual. Shame, Gertie. Sorry if this is upsetting for anyone watching this. It's not a nice thing to see at all. Shame.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh no. That last bit where you see her having the spasms,
Mm,
that's usually what you see in the last moments of an animal's life.
mm,
Ever had kept, I don't know, I used to like, nurse birds sometimes and when they'd knock into glass at my house and things like that, that would always happen. There'd be a spasm kind of before they die. And because it's unusual for us to see animals just drop down and die, usually
mm.
there's a fight or they're being hunted, so you don't get to notice that. But she obviously did die. And then the update that we had was that the lodge owner went the next day to have a look, so this morning to have a look at her condition, because remember that if she's sick, this could be potentially a threat to the rest of the lodge, right? And let
Mhm.
all the rest of the animals there. So they go in and investigate, and they found that she was actually pregnant and she was sort of in the process of aborting a very small fetus.
Shame.
Yeah, obviously some complications there. There's young or fetuses in the wild. We don't see premature births, right? Premature births really wouldn't
Yeah.
exist if we didn't have modern
Mm-mm.
medicine. So if something like this is happening, it's a natural abortion. It's when the body is rejecting the fetus for whatever reason. And unfortunately, that can come with a lot of complications.
Mm. Yeah, and it's very sad to see. Um, but so cool is not the right word, but fascinating that these cameras allow us to politely and respectfully observe situations like this. That if there'd been a vehicle there or something, then it would have changed the behaviour. It probably wouldn't have changed the outcome. But I see Kim Faustino saying the alley looking somewhat showing concern, like there's something wrong with you. We, if we'd had a vehicle there that like the wildebeest might have moved off, or the elephant wouldn't have come, or but it's such a great opportunity to observe respectfully um,
Yeah.
moments like that that we otherwise miss. So it's very, very sad to see, but um, and and honor is the wrong word, but shame, poor girl.
Yeah. And then that was actually quite saddening. I can't say that I've seen that with a large
Mm.
animal before. Can you think of reasons that she could have potentially aborted this pregnancy or
It's very difficult to know. Um, it could be an infection. She might have picked up a full body infection from somewhere, but it's so difficult to know because we don't often get a chance to study it because animals die and they're gone, and we never
yeah.
know. So I've got no idea what the policies or the strategy is at that lodge or with the lodge owner, but it might be an opportunity for someone to study to find out what might cause um, wildebeest to uh, abort fetuses in that area. It could be it could be a multitude of reasons, but it would be a good opportunity, I think, maybe for science to dig a bit deeper and learn from such a sad situation.
And again, that's one of our privileges here with
Mm.
having these cameras, right? Because if you wanted to say study this kind of um, outcome in wildebeest populations in that area, how often does it happen? How would you even structure your thesis around
No,
this? It
no,
happens.
no one even. I
Yeah,
mean, what are the chances? you'd almost like four of you would have to pick four wildebeest and just follow them all the time, and they're all fine. And you've lost 8.5 months of study.
Yeah, it's so difficult.
It's things like
And
this
you need to
in
hope.
true wilderness areas is very,
Yeah,
very difficult.
absolutely. So in a way, us being able to observe it and then, you and me going back and thinking, oh, that was interesting. I'm going to do a bit more research is our contribution to science in a
Mm.
way, because being able to study those types of incidences accurately is just, it's so difficult. Uh, do you still
I
have?
did start doing some reading.
Yeah.
I did a tiny bit of reading and I didn't digest it properly. But the paper I found was talking about um, being different. The uterus was split between two sides of the uterus and was only carried on one side or something. That's as far as I got with it, which is, I have no idea what that means. But I wonder if that has any relevance. I didn't even know that was the case in wildebeest. I didn't even know it was possible. So that's already given me impetus to, I want to understand that better now. When we're finished, that's the paper I'm going to go off and read.
Exactly. Oh,
Oh, what have we got? Got some vultures. Oh,
nice.
that's not, is that what's happening now? Oh, shame.
Ah, okay. So this is
Wow, how fast is that?
live on the Moella cam, everyone. And again, Kelly, what were we saying? How difficult to study this. This happened last night. Already there isn't even, I
Okay,
mean,
no research here then.
yeah,
Even with seeing it, because it's not possible. But then you have to look at the flip side as well. These vultures, they're here for a reason. They're doing a cleanup. They're feeding themselves. That will keep them alive to go on and do more cleanup. So if someone had pulled that carcass, they wouldn't have got food. So it's so difficult to know. Not so much ethics, but would it have even been appropriate for anyone to pick up that carcass? Because then it's removing something from the environment, and that's why we never find things out.
I am always for studying things as long as it doesn't cause a disruption.
Hmm.
And in that case, I think if the opportunity was there, I would have loved to have had a closer look at it. And it's also
Hmm.
things like resource availability. What are the resources like in Moella at the moment?
Yeah.
Because there are things that affect whether your body decides to keep a fetus or to terminate it or to pause it when it's still in its
Hmm.
very early phases. And all that has to do with resource availability, whether you're getting
Yeah.
your nutrients, whether that triggers something else. So there's so many details in the environment as well, and in the condition of that animal that could potentially give us clues. But at
No,
the
for
same
sure.
time, also like well, it is what it is. It's part of the food chain, and the vultures get their meal without any disruption. So there's always these
Hmm.
two sides of nature conservation, I suppose.
Indeed. No, I agree. Shame, poor girl.
Yeah. Um, yeah, well, I'm glad that vultures got a meal.
Mm,
And it is, at the end of the day, something really interesting to for us to have been able to observe.
it is probably something probably none of us will ever see again, to be honest.
Yeah,
Mm.
true. Um, all right, off to the next clip so we can feel a little bit about ourselves. Um, I mean, but that's nature, right? Things happen in a circular way. That's just the way it is. But how about we head back to Camelthorn, and this time we are on a lookout for a lioness with a snare. In fact, right now, the rangers are still looking for her with thermal drones and all sorts of things.
Eesh.
Oh, oh no. Oh, that is bad. I actually, from that wider shot, I actually thought that was a collar. That is bad. Never mind. I guess we're not going to feel bad about ourselves in this clip. Well, not about ourselves, but just about,
Life in
yeah,
general.
yeah,
Oh golly, I'm finding that quite hard to look at.
yeah. Oh, that's tough.
She hasn't lost condition though. Look at I was going to
Yeah.
call her chubby then. That's not very fair. She's
No,
looking really good.
she's chunky and healthy. She's lovely.
Mm.
Um,
So maybe the positive side, it hasn't been on there too long. It
yeah,
could have been that when she got trapped, there was lots of shaking and stuff to break that snare away from its moorings, which has done the damage. But it hasn't actually been on there long because we know how quickly lions drop condition. I mean, you see lions that haven't had a meal for 3 or 4 days and they look dreadful. She's
yeah,
looking fat and healthy and muscled, um,
yeah,
which is great. She's strong. So hopefully those rangers will find her quickly, get that off, and we will have a nice happy ending.
yeah. And I'm sure that they will because that we were talking about it earlier, right? Camelthorn is at the Boteti River, so it's not
Mm,
a fenced reserve. It's open to Chobe and all these other areas here in
mm,
Calicut. So that lioness theoretically could move to these other areas, but at the same time, lions are territorial. So
mm,
that is definitely helpful in the situation. You know that the lioness is going to stay within these certain bounds. And if they have
mm,
technology like thermal drones, they also have people on the ground and all that sort of thing. It's just a matter of time
mm.
before they
No, but
find.
that looks like a short term to me, judging by her condition. It looks like a short term thing. Maybe I don't know. I'm guessing 2 days, 3 days. It might have got in as deep as it did because of the shaking and because that she
Yeah.
had to get that out of the ground, which has done the cutting. But she's still looking good. She hopefully she'll get found nice and quickly and get that removed. And
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if it is 3 days. Like, it almost looks like she
I don't.
just had a great meal and it
Yeah.
just happened because she is in such fantastic condition.
Mm. So
So,
yeah, I think it's positive.
yeah, I do too. And we'll definitely have an update
Mm,
and share with you when we get one because I
definitely.
really think it's gonna be fine for that girl. And
Mm,
also,
I agree.
with lionesses, well, not just lionesses, but with big cats, they can get very irritated by that. So they continue to pull, continue to bite at it. And that can add to the friction that's happening around their necks
Mm,
and create further deeper cuts, even though it hasn't been on for a very long time.
mm.
But the rangers are putting in as much effort as they possibly can to get to her. So hopefully we have some good news for you soon.
Fingers crossed.
Oh, Bridget, you say it looks like she's suffocating, and Karu says it looks terrible. And then Mr. HUAE87 says it's sad, but lucky she lives with the pride. Yeah, I think that sh- she still seems to be fine. It looks like she's suffocating, but she can breathe. Um, and it's just a matter of time until we get good news. I'm sure of it.
Mm, I agree.
Folks, I have to run in a minute. So let us quickly move over to our last clip. We're going to go over to Vic Falls and oof, let's see if it's the same crocodile that's causing trouble here. Not that we would be hard to ID crocodiles. Do you
I
remember?
haven't seen this crocodile before. I've heard.
Oh,
Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Where is he?
yeah, you can never know. He's so good at lurking. Is it the...
Yeah. Oh, there he is. It's not even a very big. Well, I was gonna. It's not. It doesn't even look like a very big crocodile.
No, it doesn't. But you know what? The last one was irritated with the buffalo wasn't a big crocodile either.
Get out of my water. That's a yeah. That's an optimistic. Well, maybe not. But that doesn't look like an attack. I'm sure if there was a
100% looked like a get out of here, you're irritating
yeah.
me.
No, I agree. But that's certainly a cheeky croc we've got there.
Very cheeky croc. I am so desperate to know if it's the same crocodile, or maybe even. if it's the offspring of the same crocodile. That can you imagine?
Nature or nurture? Choke the buffalo.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Can you see the
Oh,
ridges just by this buffalo in front of us?
is that, is that, that's,
Is it?
what's he doing there?
That is the crocodile.
Is it? This is going to come back to my camera. I'm like squinted forward.
Oh,
Why
oh,
is that crocodile hanging out next to that buffalo? That looks like.
I,
Hello?
I've told you 1,000 times.
Maybe it's not that small. It
I
looks a
mean,
bit
it's
bigger there.
fine.
See, that looked more like they were just hanging out next to each other. That buffalo must have known that crocodile was there. How funny.
I don't know, but if that keeps happening, I want to know about it. But it's time for us to say goodbye, everybody. I'm sorry I have to rush and say bye. And thank you so much, Kelly, for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Always a pleasure to be here.
And thank you, everybody, for your questions and your comments. I hope you enjoyed the clips. They gave you lots of things to think about and maybe things to research. And I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.
Bye.